All over the world, issues concerning women and youth are characterized by confusion, contradiction, and controversy. That's my opinion. Perhaps the reason the bull is associated symbol of poverty index of many countries, including Nigeria, is, as they say, poverty is the face of a woman. It may also explain the seeming bearish disposition of many institutions to target adequate and proportionate investments in women and youth matters. Now consider also what women themselves want. Is it equality or equity? Potential policies and programs that would have promoted the general well-being of all women and the youth get immersed and lost in the confusion, contradiction, and controversy woven around those concepts. Now, equality and equity, or lack of them, have been women's greatest nightmare. Yet, the world will be a better place should all gender be allowed level playing ground and equal opportunities. But this can only happen only if and when historical assumptions that restrict women are removed. Indeed, when there is gender equality and equity in the above sense, the world will be better for everyone. Now, according to McKinsey Global Institute report, when we unplug or dismantle the age-old gender norms and, of course, narrow the gender gap, then the world economy will be multi-trillion-dollar richer, and that's very close by 2025. Fundamentally, narrowing gender gap will mean creating more diversity in the workplace to include women in decision-making positions, policy drivers, in business spaces, and so on and so forth. And this has been the aspiration of Nigerian women since independence. Now, women of African descent, particularly Nigerian women, are no doubt making steady progress in breaking the frontiers. But unfortunately, many are still groping around the brick wall of politics. Despite their numerical voting strength, none of the formidable political parties has yet to file a female presidential candidate since independence. Now, if the 2023 electoral space is free and fair, as Nigerians anticipate, the first elected woman governor in the northern part may emerge. The 2023 elections is envisaged to be a game changer, not just for women, but also for all Nigerians and indeed the African community. Now, all political parties are now courting the vote of women, but which amongst them can or will make the paradigm shift in the conditions of women in Nigeria? It's on this note, I welcome you to late edition this week as I engage great Nigerian women in the vanguard of narrowing age-old gender norms. I am Claire Adelabu Abdul Razak, and I thank you for joining me. Honorable Ajia Aisha Bolande Bajabiamila is a senior consultant and clinical pharmacist. She's also a pharmacy manager in various multi-chain group of companies across the world. She holds a Master's of Pharmacy degree from King's College London, University of London. She is a member of the political party in Nigeria. She's also a humanitarian and a grassroots movement activist. Honorable Bajabiamila is a recipient of numerous national and international awards, including Nigerian Women Achievers Award with 100 Extraordinary Women of Worth 2022. Now, she's also a mainland TV fashion show and award recipient for the Most Inspirational Woman in Diaspora Award of the Year 2022. AMA American Award Best Humanitarian of the Year 2021. She has so many of them. She's the founder, president and founder, Females in Leadership and Empowerment, as well as president of founder Aishat Bajabiamila Foundation. My second guest, Professor Joy Ngozi Ezilo, OON. Of course, is a distinguished law professor, emeritus dean of law, University of Nigeria, and former United Nations Special Rapporteur on trafficking in persons, especially women and children. She's a senior advocate of Nigeria, one of the newest, a versatile legal scholar and civil society activist, recognized as a leading authority in the field of international human rights, especially on issue of rights of women and children in Africa. Now, she founded Women Aid Collective, WACOL, and Tamasak, as well as pioneered the teaching of women, children, and the law in 1997. She is the 2019 winner of the National Human Rights Award, also received several other national and international awards, including, of course, being recognized by Newsweek Daily Beast, that's New York, in 2013, as one of the 125 women of impact in the world for her work to end trafficking. She was conferred with a Nigerian government national honor of Officer of the Order of Niger in 2006 by the then President Olusegun Obasanjo, recognizing, of course, her outstanding contributions in the area of nation building, legal scholarship, advocacy, civil society, and, of course, community service. Now, I have just one more person, a distinguished person. Honorable Justina Onyenonachi Kamalu is a professional registered nurse, educationist, and politician. She's multi-skilled technocrat and independent healthcare consultant. She holds 2 master's degrees in science of nursing and business administration and a Bachelor of Science in nursing, both from the University of Phoenix in Arizona, United States. Also in her portfolio is a diploma in nursing from Benue State School of Nursing, Makurdi. She's trained and obtained her certificates in several areas of learning and management, including innovation studies discipline, nurse preceptorship, institutionalist labor market studies, and work organization ethics. Honorable Justina Onyenonachi has a rich professional experience with diverse technical competence, caring and inclusiveness with high-level proficiency in policy and protocol revision. She is the founder and pioneer board member of Diaspora Vanguards, a registered support outfit with nationwide operation coverage. Those are my guests for today, and I'd like to welcome all the distinguished ladies to Late Edition this week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, let's quickly begin, and generally I'd like to ask again, I want to welcome all of you. I want to welcome Professor Joy Zilo and the 2 honorables here with us. So it's all about women, and I'd like to start, first of all, what do women really want? Professor Joy Zilo, I'd like you to take off, because you're human. Yes, from the, what do women want?
Women want to be treated as human beings with full capacity, including legal capacity, not treated as a minor or someone who lacks the capacity and the ability to think and decide for themselves. Women want to be recognized, their agency to take decision. Women want to be treated equally as their male counterpart. Women want equitable distribution of property, equitable access to and control over power. Women just want to be human beings. They want to be recognized in terms of their dignity and right that has been internationally, regionally, and nationally under the Constitution of Nigeria recognized. The problem here is just the huge gap between the law in the books and law in action. So women want to enjoy their human right, which is inherent in every human being. They don't want to be seen or treated as many person. They want to have equal access to power, because where the power is, women are not. Women want to be free from poverty, because they are the poorest of the poor. Women want to be seen as a step to that development that is sustainable, that democracy that is sustainable, because you can't run on one foot and think you will excel. A democracy or a development that is not engendered and made gender sensitive is in danger. Okay. We need both, and just like you said in your introduction, we will progress a lot if women participate in economic activities, and they are included, and they have access, and they can even control ownership, land, sell, All of these things are where...
There's a whole lot of what you have said, and again, that defines the confusion, you know, that comes with demand for, you know, gender issues, especially women issues. Honorable Bolande Gbajabiamila, is there a gap in all of this? Because the men will tell you, you have all these things that you are asking. I mean, you have the recognition, women are doing very well, and all that. Is there a gap that needs to be filled?
Thank you so much. Yes, that's correct. There is a gap. There is a misconception on what people actually think that women want. It's true that women want to be happy. Women want to be respected. Women want to participate in life-changing decision-making, you know, processes. But sometimes, you know, we talk about gender equality. But when women talk about gender equality, that's there's a misconception that we want to take over power. We still respect our male counterparts. We still appreciate the fact that the man is the head of the family. We still respect the fact that, you know, we're not trying to sidetrack them. We want to be given we're asking to be given a voice. We want to participate in life-changing decision-making that would benefit our family and benefit the nation. A lot of, you know, legal and policies have been put in place that does not benefit our family. We are the ones that give birth to the children. We are the ones that control the homes. And we're the ones that make sure everything is in place in a household. And yet, they don't carry us along in those decision making that would benefit our family. So there is a gap. When you look at the percentage of women in governance at the moment, there isn't a lot of women there. But at the end of the day, we are the ones that actually goes out there to vote. We are the ones that knows exactly what is needed. So we're the key parts of every institution, yet we're not carried along.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Gbajabiamila, for your response. And you're all distinguished ladies in your respective fields. And I want to believe that you were not given. And if we are asking for level playing ground, you had the level playing ground to be able to achieve what you achieved. So, Honorable Justina, I'm just wondering, what do we mean by equality and equity? It's already there. If it weren't, you probably would not, rise to the positions you are today.
Statistically speaking, looking at the data, you find out that women are over 50%, about between 52-55% of the world population. And when you look at the distribution of leadership, distribution of wealth, distribution of power within the political, economical arena, you find out that there's a disproportionate distribution of this areas that I've mentioned. And just like the professor had mentioned, it's like standing on one wheel. And a bike standing on one wheel cannot ride comfortably. And a lot of the problems we have today in the world is caused as a result of lack of women participation in places of decision making, in the politics, in the economic, in the homes. Mention it, because women are not taking their rightful places in decision making. So obviously there is a big gap. It is not equal. When you look at the Nigerian, for instance, in our parliament, in our National Assembly, we have only 5 senates, or 6 senates, precisely. That tells you over a good number of, out of how many senates we have? Almost
104.
104.
109.
Is it? Okay. Now, and we have just 5 or 6 senators. So where is the equity? So we're talking about equity. Now you can find out, you can tell that women are not given their rightful places. And decisions concerning women will be made. These decisions concerning youths will be made.
The question will be, how did those 5 female senators make it to the assembly?
That, you know, yes, it's a good question.
We can't just assume. Some people had better opportunities, better education. It doesn't mean they didn't struggle. The fact that I struggled to get to where I am, and I'm using my privileged position to raise the voices of women, I would want other women to get opportunities, because not all, some women, even to go to school is a struggle. Even to be allowed to choose, make a choice of the profession they want to belong to is a problem. Even to work, I mediate cases like that, even though the economy has gotten harder now. Many men want to see their wives get jobs.
Go to work. Yeah,
there was a time, I know how many women said, you will not work.
Professor Isidore, there was a time the gap, you know, in gender enrollment was wide apart.
I know,
and girls, yes,
yeah.
it's been breached
in education, but please just see that the data is also in transition, because in the primary education, well breached, in secondary, yes, but also you begin to see dropout even from secondary, because some of them get pregnant, they will never come back to school. Some are married off, child bride, they never come back to school. And then also when you get to university, yes, even as a lawyer, law professor, I've seen increased female enrollment. I know when we were in school, you know, only one female hostel, for example, in UN, at the Enugu campus, where we had law, medicine, and all the professional courses. Over time, they've taken over 4, 5, 6, and it's not even enough. We've come to maybe, say, 40, 60, or even more. But that's again because of another problem. For example, even in the Southeast, when men thought that it doesn't pay, you don't get job after school, after completion of university education, why do I have to spend that long time in education that doesn't give me access to work and decent livelihood?
Yeah.
So they quickly go to apprenticeship. They, immediately after they drop to school, and they make money. And others are seeing it. So if you go to civil service, for example, in Anambra, you may see a lot of women dominating, even in the Southeast. But then it's not that kind of skewed that we're talking about. We want both men and women, even boys and girls, to have equal access to education, and decent and good education is the foundation. But the fact that you see us women all successful in our different professions doesn't mean there are not women there out there more intelligent, even genius, who could contribute, but we are not given the same opportunity.
Honorable Aisha, what are you saying? Because I know there was a time when young girls, you know, didn't even have the opportunity, you know, to speak out. Today, we have a lot of very vibrant, very vocal, you know, young ladies. You know, some of them are even spokespersons to, you know, very formidable political parties.
That's right. Yeah. The older generations, you know, there was that misconception that, you know, no matter how much education that you have, your woman's place is in the kitchen. So, but
the other room.
And the other room, which was quite wrong, you know. And but yet, they still say that women are multi-talented, they're multi-gifted, and then, you know, but these days, we can see that there's a lot of women out there that's actually going out there to study, to, you know, pursue degrees, even though they still have their homes to manage, you know, which is a good thing. We have a lot of women out there now breaking the glass roof, you know, breaking the glass ceiling. Yeah. But what I want to emphasize on is, yes, we're here today, we have our professions, we're doing really well, but I have to say that we worked 10 times or more harder than our male counterparts to get to where we are.
Exactly.
And that's where the problem is. That narrative needs to change. We need to change the narrative. I don't see any reason why women have to struggle and work.
What are the hurdles you see? What kind of hurdles do you meet on the way?
There is, you know,
domestic. We get
there's a stigma. There's a domestic abuse. There's a domestic violence. There's the, you know, there is that is a stigma that you face, that you are like a mini person to your male counterparts.
And actually,
Yeah.
the challenge starts
That you're
from
not-
cradle to grave. A woman is just like you have to have 9 lives, like a car, to survive womanhood. And it's at every stage. From birth, you could be rejected by your people that are supposed to love you.
Yeah.
Because you're not wanted.
Because
They
you are a
wanted a
woman.
male child.
They want
Some
male
preference
child.
ideology. And then you survive that. Then you have to survive some harmful practices, female genital mutilation, early child marriage,
That's right.
forced marriage, lack of access to education to give you the same access to go to school. If you have to think of someone who stays behind, and that should stay behind as they goes to
But
school.
are they still
These roadblocks. These roadblocks are many.
Yes, Professor Zilo, are these age-long norms, are they still restriction, to female progression? Honorable
Of
Justina?
course.
Because I know in the
Yeah.
East it was rampant.
Yeah,
but, yes.
of course.
Are they
I
still
mean,
existing?
Of course, directly or indirectly, because in practice, they've enhanced the law. It's one thing to have the law theoretically, but it's another thing to practice it. Because if women are given the same equal opportunity like their, like the male counterpart, we won't be here.
Sorry again. I want you to
Yeah.
break down this
For instance,
equal opportunity. In what areas?
our culture, okay? Remember, our culture is the woman's place to cook, to raise the children, to do all the domesticated
So
work.
do we want the men
which-
to also cook?
Hang on. Remember,
It's a division of labor. Why not?
Remember, these are all time-consuming efforts.
Exactly.
You understand? Because you have to. I mean, you require time to take care of your kids, take them to school, take care of the sick parent or grandparents at home, take the kids to school, cook for them. All the domestic efforts or chores that is loaded in your personal program does not give you the opportunity to go out there and do what you need to do as a woman to survive.
Let me put you
Now,
on hold.
yes.
Just hold your thoughts. All right, you're watching Late Edition this week, and of course, I'm engaging great women of substance to see how we can break the age-long gender barriers that have, of course, impeded women's growth. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Let's blow your trumpets. Advertise on NTA News 24, located at the headquarters premises of the NTA, Area 11, Garki, Abuja. Our rates are affordable. Our reach is far and wide. We are on DSTV Channel 419, Star Times Channel 101, Go TV Channel 46, Free TV Channel 703. NTA News 24. News and more news.
All right, welcome back. You're watching Late Edition this week. Honorable Justina Kamalo, you were speaking passionately.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
So when we have all the chores loaded up in our programs, it does not give you the opportunity to go out there and do what you're supposed to do. Look for position of leadership. Look for go to school. I mean. So where is the distribution and equity? Where is the justice? Where is the equity?
But this is something you can resolve.
Let me finish.
This doesn't need law to legislate. We don't need to legislate on
But
that.
you need cooperation and you need understanding to know that gender roles do change.
Exactly.
There are cultural and environmental determinants. For example, it's about conceptualized dichotomy between the public and private space, and between reproductive and productive. And for women, of course, they do too much. because they have to, grapple with their reproductive role,
yeah.
and they're also productive in the house. They are female-headed households.
Yeah.
There are women. There are women who. So we need to just understand, because if our men are in Western world, you see them helping out. If they are here, probably the culture, they think that to be a real man, you don't have to get involved in sharing domestic work.
So
let me
moderate this conversation, because our focus is how we can use 2023 elections as a game changer for women's condition. And that is why we've seen a lot of political parties going about. We've seen the number of women supporting, these political parties. At the end of the day, we're having just one woman who is,
a presidential candidate.
Yes. So I want to start to look at.
There are more than one, but it just in terms of governorship, we have, like, in terms of candidate, maybe 25 female governorship candidates across political parties. Maybe with the deputy governors, about 102.
No, we're not even talking about the
candidates. Yes, that's where we have a lot. But when you come to an actual elective representative in the parliament, the whole of the House of Assembly, we are talking of candidates, not people that have won. The whole of candidates is 1,056 or 46, thereabout. And for the Senate, the whole of Senate across the states of the Federation is 92 female candidates. It could be less now with all the court action.
I want to, because I know Honorable Gbajabiamila is a politician.
No female vice president. No female vice president.
She's a politician, and I know you have your views. But Professor Ezilo, give us an understanding of your views about the different political parties' behavior towards the women, candidates, or women aspiring for positions.
I just think where the power is, women are not, and some of the lack of enabling environment is part of why women are failing en masse in their political enterprise. Call it that. For example, high monetization of politics. The higher you go, even you want Senate, you want vice. The presidency, it becomes more expensive for them. And then the mainstream or the so-called big parties is winner takes all, and is do or die. They don't accommodate women. And I see it also as beginning to be a Nigerian thing, because getting into power and getting elected has become also an easy access to money and creation of wealth. So they don't want, the men don't want the women to get in there. Apart from the culture, are we the only one in African culture? We are now a laggard. If you look at the global index, that report of the World Economic Forum, Nigeria is lagging.
We're lagging. Let me bring in Honorable Gbajabiamila. What do you see? Do you see women immersed in party manifestos of political parties?
Right. Thank you so much. Coming from my background, I know we're not supposed to talk about politics here today, but I'm going to talk a little bit about politics, and because I'm a APC chieftain. Looking at the manifestos for APC, for the coming election, February 2023, it talks a lot about women empowerment. In the past, there's been issues about women not being involved in governance. This manifesto, it actually talks a lot about at least 35% inclusion in of women in governance.
And because you are a professional, both of you are professionals in your fields, so you are trying to inject professionalism into the manifesto. So how does this professionalism accommodate the women? Okay, Justice.
That's right now, like in our party, we have a professional forum, and in the professional forum, they have, just last week, there was a symposium that was held at Sherry Yaradua Center. In that, there was an exposition on how the manifesto of our candidate, who is Asiwaju Shetima, and you find out that they have a manifesto of 35% to carry women along, and these women, to be carried
That's
along.
what I don't like to hear.
Yes.
Carry women along.
Carry
No.
women
I'm not in politics.
The word was engagements.
Yes.
Not just empowerment anymore.
Yes.
Engagements.
Engage the women.
Exactly.
Yes.
And these are from the professional
Don't carry us along.
perspective.
Yeah.
Whereby we're making sure that the women have a level playing field, are engaged and inclusive in the governance of in the incoming administration. And there is a promise by the wife of the incoming president that women must be included. At least have about 35%.
Did you ask
Yes.
why your party has not mainstreamed the 35% even in into
That-
women's elective position,
Elective and appointive as well.
Yes.
Because I think
Because
anyway,
at the moment, you know, the what they did this year as well, which was quite you know, impressive, was that to encourage women participation in governance this year, they made sure that the women didn't have to pay for the forms. Which, you know, because that's always been a problem for a woman to be able to pay so much for that form, you know, to be able to participate
What
in
has that
political...
translated to?
Though that does not
because I think
into
you see that nomination form with
Okay.
Just hold on,
Yes,
because yes.
Though it does not translate into candidature. It's one thing to
increases
to have
participation.
a free to have even a free ticket. But what does it translate to? Now, there are different aspects of you know, governance. There are elective and there are also appointed positions. And the fact that some of the women did not get the ticket does not mean that they will not be included in, you know, during the appointment process. So, but there is going to be a makeup of that 35%, either in the legislative quarters, that's the elective, or the
I think
appointment.
successive parties have
Yes.
failed us in this regard. And actually, we saw a retrogression when APC came into government in 2015. And it's very clear. I'm a scholar, I research, and the statistics are clear. From 1999 to date, by 2015, we had a sharp decline from women over 20 elected in the House of Representatives to getting 12, from female legislators, Senate, coming down to 8, you know, from 7 to 6. So we've had this decline without facing any natural disaster or something, conflict of that nature.
Is it a party thing?
Is
it a party thing?
Yeah.
Or
The
a capacity
professor
capacity
is very
thing?
right about
It is
that.
a
I wouldn't
party
say it's a
thing.
party
Yes.
thing.
It's not a party
think
thing. The
it's also
professor is very
individual.
right about that.
But I think they can do better, and they had opportunity to do better.
I agree.
And in speech and promises, they've undertaken to improve the status of women. And we've seen also the First Lady, wife of the President, even come to solidarity in the National Assembly, and the Vice President wife. But I think we have to move beyond mere rhetorics to look at those manifestos, Honorable, you mentioned, because those manifestos and constitutions of political parties even have some affirmative action provision
That needs to be enacted.
But the problem is that they are not being implemented. And this is where the women professionals in those parties, since you belong to those parties, ought to hold them accountable to those provisions. Because you can't say in your manifesto, I will give 35%, and in reality, you don't even give 5%. Even in the executive leadership position, you see it's only woman leader position that they concede to a woman. And then the rest of them, they don't even give to the women. So you just have women leaders from all categories, from national to zonal to what to. So they're not even where decisions are taken. So I think we need to be very serious about this. It's a disappointing situation and disturbing that we have to struggle for everything as women. So I was part of writing Rwanda Constitution, and we have affirmative action. Kenya has today, many countries of Africa, even Senegal, South Africa, everywhere, Tanzania, Kenya, everywhere you have seen significant surge in women's representation in power. Why not my country?
The APC diaspora vanguards, comprising of professionals like your very distinguished selves. You say you want to inject professionalism into the manifesto of your party,
Correct.
such that women will be adequately mainstreamed,
Yes.
not just the lip service paying, as Professor have said. So, on what grounds, on what context can we hold, your party accountable, as far as women issues are concerned?
That's a good question.
Yes.
Here. There are, especially in this country, they have different processes of, would I call it selection or of appointment? However, there are different professional bodies, and especially the professional forum. It's one of the strongest so far in APC that has vowed to make sure that women are carried along, and they have there is also the Nigerian think tank that has the professional body, which I am the regional.
Honorable
So
Justina,
these
I'm
are-
sorry.
I know why I'm
carried
bringing.
along.
Yes, I know why
Carried
I'm bringing
along.
that.
We have
I
a
know
gap.
why, I
We
know
have a
why I'm
gap.
bringing this
Yes.
up. You know why? Because these are advocates. These are lobbyists. Okay, these are lobbyists, and there will be forces to hold the party accountable.
What are you lobbying
to
for on behalf
That's
of
what I'm saying.
women?
Even in the United States,
I'm just gonna
you
come in,
lobby
I'm
over
just gonna come
everything.
in
Even in the United
right there.
States, okay, even in the United States,
I think they are
everything is
coming.
being lobbied.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Please, make
Honorable Justina, I'm just going to emphasize on something, she said earlier on today in a discussion, while we were sitting out there, on the, about professionalism in governance and in this new government dispensation that's coming up. She made a very good point earlier on, and which we discussed and we both agreed. She said something that in the past years, we as professionals, we have not actually
Showed interest.
showed interest in politics, and showed interest in making life-changing decisions that would affect our homes, that would affect our families, that would affect our communities, especially as women. We have left politics in the past to be, run by, some set of people that has labeled themselves as political thugs.
And I'm asking, now that you are in it,
Now,
you understand, what are the areas? Because we have a lot of gaps. Professor Zido talked about the affirmative action that is in the Constitution we have not met. She's making comparison between what is happening here in Kenya or Namibia and other African countries.
We're going to make
Can
we
you
will be
tell us?
demanding for it.
yeah,
What are you demanding?
That's what I'm saying. To have
we're
women
going
in
to-
these positions.
We're going to be holding
Yeah.
people accountable for all those. Right, you've said you're going to do this, you're going to do this. Those things are going to be are going to be revealed. They're going to be revealed.
Yes, and that's why I'm asking both of you. I'm asking both of you. You were at the symposium, both
Yes.
of you. So what were the points that you have raised? What were your
Right.
injections?
No,
That will
there
turn
was a
around the
topic-
positions of women.
There was a
Yes, to do
topic
something
that-
different.
there
so
was a
that,
topic-
so that the government of your candidate, if he does win the election, will initiate a paradigm shift for Nigerian women.
Right. We talked about the wife of the incoming president for our party, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, and she had like a long speech of things that on how women and professionals, both professionals and non-professionals, a breakdown of how women will be involved in this new dispensation. And it went all the way from women engagement and educating women, carrying out educational talks, motivational talks to encourage the women. Some women, because they've come from that older generation, they do not even have the motivation or the confidence to come out and be able to get themselves involved in decision making. They've actually been relegated to the kitchen, believing that is where they belong. So in this manifesto, there's a lot of programs in place that's going to help educate the new generational woman to be involved in decision making
Right across
and how
different
to
sectors.
manage your home, at the same time be, involved in those sort of things.
Professor Ife, women are asking for two things: equity and equality.
And equality.
In every aspect.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yes, and where there is a major gap is in the area of policy.
Policy
making.
politics,
Yes,
power,
yes.
decision making.
And you can only get that through the ballot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Professor Ife, you've
Ezilo.
listened. Ezilo. I'm sorry, Ezilo. Please, you've listened to the professionals. What are your thoughts? Is there hope for any paradigm shift?
I'm
for
a
Nigeria?
professional. You mean professional politician? Because that's what I'm not.
No, we are both professionals. And at
I'm
the
not
same
a
time
professional. I'm not a politician. I'm not a professional
Yes.
politician.
So do
I'm
do you see hope for Nigerian women into this?
I think really, I just, it's hope that keep me alive. I have to say that.
Yeah.
And I'm enthusiastic about the work I do. And I think it's enthusiasm that drives the world. If I lose that hope, then I won't have the passion to do the work I
continue.
do.
Absolutely.
And I am really getting tired. We want to hand over baton 3 decades on the work, as a feminist, as an activist, and doing all of this work. And sometimes you see changes in other countries you've worked, and you won't see change in your own country. And it's not lack of, because we have women as intellectual, women professionals, women entrepreneurs, women in businesses, holding their own in the whole of the world and Africa. Today we have a deputy secretary general, a woman, a Nigerian. We have a head of the WTO, a Nigerian, a woman. How come that back home that we are not making that progress? It's been 1 step forward, 2 steps backward. So, and it's worrisome. Now I think we have to go beyond mere promises. Women have to extract written promissory note. This is not, so they have to undertake truly that they have to do this, because we've had this promise upon promise, and at the end of the day it's not kept. Even the current president had promised women too that he was going to give affirmative action. It's no longer give now. We are asking for what is our constitutional right, because it's a constitutional right for women. It's a matter of justice. Nigerian government have ratified a lot of international UN instruments and even African Union instruments.
Professor
that
Zilo,
says that we must
Professor
respect
Zilo, was it a matter of right that Senator Binani got the governorship candidate on the platform of the APC?
I must also say, let me thank Mr. let me also thank Mr. President, because I was just looking at television and seeing also President Buhari supporting her, because he's really, he's really, I was very happy to see that. So we must commend our president. So it may not just be a presidential thing. Maybe most of our men need to change their mindset.
That's
Maybe
where I'm going. Right.
The problem
that brings me to a very critical, important point. I have a foundation, like I talked about earlier on, ISAT Gwajabiamila Foundation, Female in Fly, that's Females in Leadership and Empowerment. And one of our core or key reasons for putting this foundation together, apart from the fact that we talk about women, what do women want? We want to empower women, we want to engage women in governance, but what we forget all the time is, what about our young males? Now, women go through domestic violence, they get sidetracked, they get relegated to the kitchen. Who raised those male women? In the older generation, we pamper our male children. We say to them, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. Oh, you sit there, your wife needs to slave in the kitchen from morning till night. You raise that boy. You raise him to be like that?
You know.
So what happens?
Aja, I would. I'm sorry. I'm just, facing up here because of time. I know that, Senator, you share the same, surname with the speaker, and whether, biological, whatever, but you share the same surname.
Yeah.
And Honorable Gwajabiamila has been speaker.
Yeah.
He's been, in fact, he's a very, very high-ranking, member of the National Assembly.
Yeah.
And he's a member of the APC. And he's a strong follower of, your presidential candidate. Yet he was unable to drive
the constitutional bills
yes,
to get it passed.
To get the gender, bills.
Equality.
About five
of them,
including
passed.
the one that will have given additional seat to women.
Precisely.
But I think some passed actually in the House of Reps, some also failed. But when it comes to constitutional review, if they don't pass in both houses, it will not survive.
It will not survive.
But we're actually disappointed both in the Senate and the House of Representatives.
So
and Nigerian women in general.
So I'm asking,
So you do realize that decision making is not just solely his decision. It's like a joint effort, like there are other people involved.
So what is
in
your
that
party going to do
decision
differently?
making.
What is your party going to do differently?
Our manifesto, actually shows and proves that there is going to be different, because it talks a lot about women engagement. And now, when you think about it, a lot of that manifesto, when it talks about the women empowerment and youth empowerment,
we need to have it
our senator
it's
actually involved. From our own experience, she's been senator how many times? Her husband hasn't stopped her from achieving a political career. And that shows you, just gives you an example of the sort of man Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is. He's a supporter of female gender. It will stand by you thick and thin to make sure you get to where you are supposed to be.
What I'm saying, Honorable Gbachebiamila and Justina Kamalu, what I'm saying, we need to have something from you professionals to the politicians, something tangible, something we can hold them accountable as far as one, getting women, the bills concerning women's rights to be passed, giving women, the legal
capacity we need
to come up. Because if they don't have it, there's no way women will be involved in decision making. That's what I'm saying.
And we need to, because it's a really shame that the 5 bills that failed, one talk about additional seats for women, it will have put 111 seats more for women that could have been designated as women only seat, where only women will have contested, failed. The one on indigeneity that will have given women equal status, whether you're married in state or out of state. What is not even a problem for us Nigerians? We live abroad. 2 of you are from diaspora. You are citizens of the country where you are. Nobody discriminates against you. But in Nigeria, because of marriage, you are discriminated against. Then you have affirmative action in executive positions in a party that failed. We have affirmative action or as little as 10 or 20%. I think it was the House that raised it to 20. The Senate adopted 10. Did not also pass for appointive position. Yet we have a policy that we've run from 2007 that recognized 35% as the minimum.
Is there anything? We have just
Beijing, remember 1995?
Yes, we have just 2
women went to the Beijing where it was agreed.
Solutions.
Solution.
Yes. Is there anything that women can do now?
Solutions.
We just have.
No, we're still bargaining. Women shouldn't give vote.
Right.
Give their vote. Women should use their numerical strength to vote in those that are sure will be gender sensitive, will respect them, and will enhance their status in law. Because it is very important. If not, please don't give them your vote.
Okay. What can women do differently now as a bloc?
And they should vote fellow women anyway.
Women have to love themselves and vote for themselves.
Irrespective of party.
Irrespective of party, we have to be our sister's keeper.
Sure.
And there's something else I forgot to mention. I belong to an organization called Vote and Change. And Vote and Change, I'm an ambassador there, Vote for Change. And what this organization is trying to do now is to hold parties or leaders accountable. Once their manifesto is being written, they're just waiting and see, just to see. Once they're put in place, they want to see, are you actually going to do what you said you're going to do?
What should women be doing this? Because
at this point in time, I think women should come together and have meetings with all the political party candidates, presidential candidates, and get them to commit by writing. Let them commit in writing that I promise to keep the 35% affirmative action, and hold me liable if I do not keep my promise.
All right. Honorable Justina Onyenachi. Yes, you've heard her.
Yes.
Professor Zilo, you've heard her.
I've heard her.
You've heard her.
They need to commit.
Yes, they
Yes,
need to
and
commit.
we'll ensure that that agenda.
So
We will let that accountability
so that
stay.
so that we have grounds to take them to court.
Honorable Justina Onyenachi Kamanu, thank you. Of course, Honorable Aisha Bolande Bajabiamila, thank you. Professor Joy Ngozi Zilo, OON, and Senior Advocate of Nigeria. It's a pleasure to always have you distinguished ladies. Thank you very much for coming today.
It's a pleasure.
Yes.
It's a pleasure.
And of course, I'm just going to end with this quote by young Wadi Ben Hiki. I hope I got that correct. And she says, she was 17 years when she said this. Life doesn't always give us what we deserve, but rather what we demand. So we must continue to push harder than any other person in this room. It's on that note, I'd like to thank you for watching Late Edition this week on behalf of the producer, my assistant producer, Ekene Ndule, and of course the rest of the crew. Bye-bye.